Everybody talks about healing. They talk about mindset. They talk about therapy. They talk about self love. But seldom do people ever talk about the one thing that can actually transform, that can make or break your life, and that is creativity. Most people tend to feel very disconnected from themselves, from their lives, especially during periods of times which are more difficult. For example, experiencing a heartbreak or loss of a loved one or being in a role that isn't fulfilling. And one of the reasons why this happens is because they're not just disconnected from who they really are. And it's not that they don't know who they are or what they want, it is because they are disconnected from their creativity. I know it is very normal in life to put creativity on a back burner as if it is something that is a hobby, as if it is something that is not wholly necessary, as if it is something that is reserved for the special few, when in reality, creativity is your true nature. You are a creative being because the creator of all things in the universe exists inside of you, which means that the creator that created you is functioning inside of you and is working through you to create your life. You are creating your life whether or not you know it, but you are in every single moment. Whether you do consciously or unconsciously, that is a whole different story. But you are creating your life, which means you are an artist. And I know how wild it sounds to call you an artist or even myself an artist. It took me a while to even admit that, yes, I am an artist, because artists have such a stigma in society, and we always put things like creativity and art on the back burner as if they are not as important as money, as relationships, as status, as gaining validation. So we become so disconnected from our creativity, but our creativity is our life force. So in the past few months, I have been learning so much about the importance of creativity. And creativity not only helped me heal from my heartbreak, but it also helped me become more connected to myself, more present in my body, more connected to my purpose. It made me more intuitive. It made me more sensual. It made me more present in my life. And it reminded me of who I am. So the reason why I started getting into creativity, I kind of stumbled across it when I was experiencing my heartbreak. And it's one of the things that really helped me not only feel and sit with my emotions, but to be able to alchemize them in a way that was healthy rather than having unhealthy coping mechanisms like I used to in the past. Every time I used to go through a heartbreak, it used to take me years to deal with the trauma and the pain and the attachment and the codependency that I would experience, and I still felt worse off. But this time, when I went through my heartbreak last year, it was honestly a blessing, and it was a blessing in the way that what came of it and what it did for me as a person and who I am today. I'm so grateful for the woman that I am today. And it is my utmost wish to be able to share my experience with other people so that even one person can change their perception or tap into their creativity or connect with that part of that artistic part of themselves a bit more. That would be a dream, because I know how much it has helped me and I know how much it can help other people, which is why I'm here and I'm sharing my story with you, and I'm going to be vulnerable and honest about what actually happens and how you can connect to this deeper part of yourself. So what happened was I started reading this book. It's called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I love this woman. And in this book, she completely blew my mind. She blew my mind because she helped me realize why my creativity had been suffocated my entire life. Believe it or not, we are all born creators. We are all born as artists, but most people will never become artists because they will never allow themselves to connect to the artistic side. Why? Because there are almost two parts of you. You have the artistic side, and then you have the side which is the censor. Julia Cameron calls the ego the censor. This is the part of you that tells you that you're not good enough, tells you that you shouldn't express yourself because it's not safe, and it tells you that you shouldn't be seen. Now, as a child, with hindsight, can see what a creative child I was. I had such an abundance of creative ideas all the time, but the reason why I didn't become a child genius creator is because of my center. Now, the center exists within everybody, within you, within me. It is the ego, it is the logical left brain part of you which tells you no. Don't go out of your comfort zone. Don't try. Don't be different. Don't express yourself. It is the one that, this voice in my head that told me, no, your writing isn't that great. Your poetry isn't that great. You could never compare to all these people, all these authors that have such perfect words and have such a eloquent way of articulating themselves. I could never be that. And my entire life, I accepted that as if that was my truth, as if those thoughts define me, when they really don't, but I let them define me, which is why my creativity was blocked. I'd always been passionate about writing, about dancing, about creating, but I just thought, no, it's not important. I have to focus on my other subjects. I have to focus on maths and science, and I have to be a doctor, and I have to, you know, make my parents happy. And to make them happy, I have to do something that values money more than me. I was trying to chase careers and pursuits that were there because of the money rather than because of what I wanted, because of what little artistic career I actually wanted. And by doing this, I ended up doing, like, I ended up going down a route that didn't honor and fulfill me. I felt very empty on the inside. And I'm so grateful for the heartbreak that I experienced, because I stumbled across creativity. I understood that my pain wanted to be felt. Now, you know, if everybody's been through heartbreak and you know how difficult it can be very painful. But this time I decided that I'm going to sit with the pain. And just because I allowed myself permission to actually feel my pain, I was able to understand what those emotions were telling me. It increased my self-awareness, and I was able to channel that pain, that grief, that sadness into something that was creative. I was able to make art out of my pain, which is wild because I had never done this before, and this is why I'm so passionate about it, because the way that my life changed after my heartbreak was crazy. I met parts of myself that I had never known before. I was able to uncover deeper lying patterns and tendencies that I had that maybe contributed towards the breakup, which was very humbling. And I'm grateful for that, because if I shine light on something, then I can change it. But if I deny it and it's in the darkness, then I don't know, and it runs my life. It's like one of my favorite psychologist Carl Jung says, as long as the unconscious remains unconscious, it will run your life and you will call it fate. And that is essentially what happens when you don't honor your creativity. Now, heartbreak or experiencing something difficult is an opportunity for you to be more creative. It's an opportunity to delve deeper into your unconscious mind. Now, creativity helped me access my unconscious. It helped me access the parts of me that I had repressed, the shadow part of me. And once I was able to access this part of me, I was able to bring up all these things that I had underlying, these issues, these problems, these beliefs, these ideas about love and what love should be and how much I deserve from a relationship. I was able to uncover these things, and I was able to channel them out. I was writing, I was writing poetry, you know, from somebody that couldn't even write poetry because I thought, oh, I can't rhyme, I can't make it sound good. I started writing poetry in a completely different language. I started writing poetry once I fully let myself just go, and I forgot about what people were going to think, and I wrote just for the sake of writing and creating. I was able to even write poetry in Hindi and Urdu, which is wild because I can't even speak Hindi and Urdu fluently. But here I was writing poetry in Hindi and Urdu, which is crazy, is wild. But let me not digress. Creativity is healing. It is what helped me heal from my heartbreak. It is what helps me express myself. Now, when you go through something difficult in life, you have all these emotions, and emotions are energy in motion, which means that energy if you don't release it, if I didn't release the pain, the grief, the sadness, the anger that I had inside me through something creative like dancing or writing or painting or singing, if I didn't do that, I would have let those emotions somatize. When you don't release the emotions, they get stored in your body, they become somatized, they become you, which is why people have dis-ease, is because they have all these stored emotions that they've never released because they've been told that they can't, or they're ashamed, or they're scared, or they don't know how to. So they keep it in their body, and then they have all these mental health problems, they have all these physical ailments that they think is just their body, when your body is perfection, it knows how to function perfectly. But the reason it is not doing that is because there is something at disease, there is some emotion that is manifesting within your body. For example, when people have shoulders that really hurt, it's because they feel like they're carrying the burden of the world on their shoulders, which is why it feels really heavy. And people don't know this, which is why they just walk around with all this baggage, this emotional baggage. But in order for you to process an emotion, you have to feel it. Most people are so scared of feeling their emotions, but it's scarier for me now to not feel my emotions than to feel them, because if I don't feel them, then I risk them becoming me. I risk them harming me, my body, my mind, my soul. But if I release it, if I just journal, make a song about it, if I make a movie about it, if I dance, if I shake and cry and do anything of that sort that helps release it. I mean, obviously crying is a creative, but it's also healing. So we mustn't put that down. I love to have a good cry. It's literally purifying for the soul, so no shame there. Um when your energy isn't expressed, it turns into heaviness, it turns into anxiety, it turns into overthinking, and it is not benefiting you in any way. This is where creativity becomes powerful, because creativity isn't about being good at art, it is about expressing yourself, it is about releasing. When you write, you release. When you dance, you move energy. When you create, you process what words cannot explain. When I was using dancing, when I was heartbroken, I was able to move and actually connect to this energy that was inside me. I was able to connect to the pain and see what it was telling me, and I was able to move it outwards. And when I moved it outwards, I felt such elevated emotions. I felt a shift in my frequency. Using creativity to heal is a form of emotional alchemy. And for me, creativity changed everything. After my heartbreak, I didn't run from my emotions. I wrote. I wrote so much. I wrote so much poetry. So much of it was so sad. But I'm happy that I did it, because it felt good to get it out. It felt good to write out what I was thinking rather than to message my ex and go back there. It felt good to dance. It felt good to connect back to my body. It felt good to be present again. And I didn't just heal my pain, I didn't just release it. I changed who I am as a person. I became more connected, as I said before, more intuitive, more sensual. I became more myself than I ever had been before, to the point where I'm here now. I had been suffering from the fear of being seen. My ego had been like, don't be seen, don't go on YouTube, don't post it, videos, don't talk, like you're not that good, you'll never be as good as other people. But here I am, despite all of that, and I'm going to continue posting and talking about this because I know how powerful it is. And it's not just a hobby, it is literally a pathway back to yourself. Creativity is all about presence. When you are creative, not only are you processing your emotions in a healthy way, you're releasing them after feeling them, and then after that you are also connecting with your intuition, with your power, with your identity. You are becoming present, because to be creative means to be out of the logical mind. It means to be here right now. There was something that Julia Cameron said in her book, and she spoke about how attention is key, and how her grandma used to have a husband that was into gambling, and despite all these problems that she had, in her letters to Julia, she would never talk about the pain she was going through. She would talk about her garden and how the lilies are growing and blooming and how the pond is developing, and all these beautiful things. And I remember when I went through a heartbreak, rather than sitting there and just going in a loophole of why didn't things work out, I started paying attention to these beautiful red roses, that pink roses that I had purchased. And I was just in awe. I just thought, wow, there's so much beauty in the world. Like, to see how creative you are and the potential that you have to be an artist, you only have to look at the world, you only have to look at nature, because God is the ultimate creator, and that God, that energy, that essence is inside of you, and you can connect to that side of you. But that side of you is quiet, it's not loud, it's not demanding, it's not cruel, it's not belittling. It is a part of you that is that inner child that wants to play, that wants to have fun, that wants to not focus on worrying about things, that is just here in the present moment. Not only can creativity heal you, but it grounds you to the present moment, to the beauty that is life. And if you can start connecting to this part of yourself, if you can recover your inner artist, you will find life so much more fulfilling, deeply fulfilling, more fulfilling than anything can ever be in life. So if you are going through something difficult at this time, or you are feeling lost, maybe you've experienced a heartbreak or a loss, I've created a guide that walks you through exactly how to use your creativity through writing, through movement, through self-reflection, in order for you to heal and transform. So if it is something that you are ready for, or you know somebody else that may benefit from this, I highly recommend that you take a look at it. It's linked below for you if you are ready to start that journey. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for liking this video and subscribing. It really helps me. Also, if you have been through the Artist's Way process, or if you have used creativity to heal in the past, please leave a comment down below, because I would really love to connect with you and to hear your experiences. Thank you. Bye.